Hello to everybody, Shalom Aleichem. Hope everybody's feeling well and getting ready for the big occasion of Shavuos coming up in less than 2 weeks. Tonight we count the Sphira 38 days, 5 weeks and 3 days. That means we gotta really get on the bandwagon to prepare for this great momentous occasion of Shavuos coming up, where Hashem will shower the world with great kedusha, holiness, similar to this holiness they showed them Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, over 3,000 years ago. So we have to try to sharpen our spirituality to be able to get into that great opportunity to become higher up, closer to Hashem. We started 2 weeks ago to talk about those mitzvahs, those commandments that are challenges to us, that are difficult for us to perform, and we have to work on our midos, our character traits, to be able to, number one, control them. We have to control them in the right way, and eventually, by controlling them enough times, to change our feelings, our midas, character traits, to be ready and happy and show Hashem that we're trying to change ourselves, perfect ourselves. Hashem is perfect. Hashem wants us to be perfect the best we can. So again, this week I want to go over some of those mitzvahs that challenge our midas, challenge our character traits that we have to control and change ourselves to be able to do those mitzvahs with ease, without a fight. Even though initially it's a fight, to go fight with our Yetzer Hara, to fight with evil inside of us to do the right thing, because our body wants to take it easy and get angry and all the things we talk about, and we have to work on ourselves to control them, those things, and to change ourselves, not to get angry and not to be lazy and so on. So the first one I want to talk about tonight, sinner. One of the mitzvahs in the Torah is, one of the 613 laws in the Torah, the sinner is achicha bilvavecha. You should not hate your brother in your heart. Now, contrary to popular opinion, the person transgresses that law if he has sinner, hatred to a fellow Jew, only if he keeps it in his heart, keeps it to himself. That person, for whatever reason, he doesn't like him. He did something to him, or that person does things he doesn't like, but if he keeps it in his heart, that's when he transgresses that mitzvah. But if he tells the person, he says to him, you know, you did something to me, it was wrong, and I'm upset with you. Once he speaks it out, he's not transgressing that mitzvah anymore, even though he still doesn't like him. He had hatred to him, or dislike to him, but since he got it off his chest, and he gave the person the opportunity to fix up what he did, so he is no longer guilty of that mitzvah of lasisna that the Rambam tells us. His Torah says, bilvavecha, in your heart. But once you speak it out, you tell him, you know, you embarrassed me the other day. We're talking and you said something that was embarrassing to me, or you did something that was made me difficult for me, whatever it is, and I was upset with you and was wrong. Once you said to him, you are not any longer transgressing the system. But still, he's not fulfilling mitzvah haftarah kamaycha that we'll talk about soon. To love your friend kamaycha, that he still has not accomplished. He might not hate him, but doesn't love him. So that part thing, he might be a bit transgressing. He's supposed to love a fellow Jew, which we'll talk about pretty soon. So the lasisna is very important. There are people, I know, that they have complaints about somebody else, they'll never tell them till the day they die, they'll never tell the person their complaint against them. And that's wrong, because if you have something against somebody else, give them a chance to apologize, give them a chance to explain themselves. But so many times, I'm sure everybody listening now had experiences that you had upset with somebody, and once you sat down to talk about it, you found out that the whole thing wasn't even, it didn't even happen. There was a whole different thing that was going on. You made a mistake and they had a wrong impression. Give a person a chance to explain themselves. And if they can't explain themselves, give them a chance to apologize. But then just don't keep that sin inside. Some people enjoy having that sin. They'd like to have something against somebody else, sort of a wickedness within the person, to have somebody, a scapegoat, to have a complaint against. But this is not the Torah way of doing things. If you have a complaint against somebody else, tell them and give them the chance to make up and to make a good relationship back again. And this is so important to realize. Of course, you have to say it the right way. This is, holler at the person, scream at them, whatever it is. You say over in a civilized way your complaint against them, and give them a chance to explain themselves or to apologize. So, and it's very, and if we do have the right to have a sin, maybe the person doesn't want to apologize, he did something very wrong, so we're supposed to look at him still as a fellow Jew, and not to have the sin towards him. But we're not transgressing it if we told him. Which brings to another question, which is very similar, involved with this that we're saying now, is l'asikum, not to take revenge. Somebody did something against you, or they didn't reply to your request in a nice way. You asked them, I'd like to borrow your, whatever it is, like your car, and you have to go someplace, or I want to borrow your shovel to take away the snow, and you ask them for a favor, and they would not give it to you. And they're very upset why you wouldn't give it to them. And then they ask you for something the next day, and you say, well, listen, you didn't give it to me, I'm not going to give it to you. That's the come, that's revenge. That you want to teach them a lesson. I'll teach you a lesson. You didn't respond to my request, so therefore I won't respond to your request. So that you might say, well, that's only fair. What's so terrible? Well, terrible is that Torah is not allowed to do that. That not only that, that's lo sikon, one of the 613 laws in the Torah, but another one, much harder one to be able to fulfill. L'asita, don't even keep any bad feelings towards the person. You asked him yesterday, I'd like to borrow your shovel. No, I won't. I can't give him a shovel. I'm afraid you might break it. I might need it. I'm not going to lend it to you. Next day, so he comes and asks you for a favor to borrow your whatever it is. And you say to him, okay, I'm going to lend it to you, but I'm not like you. Yesterday I asked you, you wouldn't give it to me. But I'm not like you, I'll give it to you. I'm not taking revenge. But you should know that I still, in other words, you show him that you're still upset with him, that he didn't lend it to you. Even that's not supposed to, the Jews not to feel like that. Even to keep sinner, something against the person in your heart, even though you didn't take revenge, you lent it to him. He did it to you, but you gave it to him. But you let him know about the fact that he didn't give it to you yesterday. And you tell him that, I'm not like you. I lend things. Now you, the stingy guy, would lend it to me, but I'll lend it to you. But you should know that you're not a good person like you should be, because you lend it. You're even not supposed to talk to him about it. You're not supposed to keep any bad feelings in your heart against somebody else. You don't know why he didn't lend it to you. You don't know what the history is. You don't know what he went through today. He may have a bad mood. Maybe he went through a difficult medical checkup. Maybe you don't know. Maybe he had a bad day arguing with his wife, with his kids again. So he was in a bad mood, and then they didn't want to lend it to you. You never know why, and therefore you should judge him favorably to think that he had a reason why he didn't lend it. Probably if you ask him again, he'll do it. The next time he will do it probably. but you don't know why he won't learn. Maybe he needs it for some reason that he doesn't want to tell you about, whatever the article might be. So the Torah says, don't even keep a grudge against the other person. Even though they did something against you, or they wouldn't do what you asked for, you're supposed to forget about it. And if he asks you for something today, as if nothing happened. You have to, of course, take it gladly, no problem. Don't even mention about the fact he didn't do you the favor yesterday. Because otherwise that's showing that you're keeping it in, a complaint against him, a dislike to that person. And just because he didn't lend you something, the Torah does not give you permission to dislike him. Because there's so much good about each person that you have to look at the good and not let the little bit of bad overpower the greatness of a fellow Jew. It's just like a person who has a very delicious food that he likes, and for some reason they put a little piece of something else in the side dish and they got into it. So you say, you don't like the whole dish anymore, it's no good anymore. It was very enjoyable, you loved that pie. And this when somebody put a little piece of chocolate on it, they don't like chocolate, so therefore you don't like pie anymore, because it didn't work out the way you'd like it. You have to look at the thing as a whole. You have to look at every Jew as a whole, what he is. He's the son of Hashem, all Hashem's children, and Hashem created him. If Hashem created him, must be something special about him. And he has a neshama, he has a soul. There's so many good things about every Yid, every Jewish person. It's just because the little thing, he came and did something wrong. He had a good relationship all the years, he had a good friend, the neighbors, good friends, everything was well. At one time he did something against you. He didn't like it, or he didn't lend you what you wanted. So therefore, you can't hold it against him. You have to be above that. And realize that we're all good friends all the time, and he's a good person, as Hashem created him. So therefore, he's a good person. He didn't lend it, so something was not, whatever the reason, no reason, whatever it is, but the good should by far outweigh any negative feelings toward the person. So, but it's not so easy. Our nature is that if somebody doesn't do what we want them to do, and we needed something, he wouldn't give it to us, so we have a bad feeling to the person, it's hard to forget about it. And sometimes we never forget about it, and we don't have the same relationship anymore. That's most people are like that. So, but the Torah says, no, I want you to work on yourself, on your personality. That people are good people. He does what he's supposed to be doing. He's a good friend, and don't allow any negative things happening to tarnish that relationship that you have with the person. That's one of the laws of the Torah, not to take revenge, for sure not, but even not revenge, but remind him what he did against you. And that's what they keep a bad feeling towards him in your heart. You're not allowed to do that. Lo sito. These are not easy mitzvahs to keep. Now, revenge is much easier, even though sometimes it's hard, but this lo sito, that's much harder. But Hashem demands us perfection. Hashem is perfect, and he wants his nation to be perfect. And he wants us to, just like Hashem himself, that he has a love for every Yid, for every Jew. Hashem loves every Yid. Even though we tend to do something wrong once in a while, Hashem does not stop loving us because of it. He looks at us as a whole, as a good person, doing the right thing most of the time. Sometimes we slip up. It's not going to tarnish our relationship with Hashem. So we have to go in his ways. We go in the ways of Hashem. He doesn't give up on the Yid and on the cult against him forever because he did something wrong. He wants us to do tshuva and come back again. In the meantime, he still has the same Abba for every Yid. And we have one of the mitzvahs of the Torah, one of the most famous mitzvahs we just mentioned before, is Avas Hashem, to love Hashem. And one mitzvah is to love our fellow Jew, two Avas, love for a Jew, love for Hashem, and love for a ger, person who became Jewish. We have a mitzvah Avas Agir also, the Ava of, we have, here the Torah, have to love kamoicha. Here we have a big question. The Torah says you'd love, people say your neighbor, but it's not the real translation. I mean, your friend, like yourself. Love your friend like yourself. So the question always is that how can a person control his feelings of love? You could tell a person to do something, might be difficult to do, but you can do it. You're able to do it. To feel something, ava, if the person don't have ava for the person, so I don't have the ava. So how can I tell me to have ava? So I don't know the person for whatever reason. So the great Sefer the Chinuch, which quote many times, the great rabbi who wrote a short description of all the 613 laws in the Torah, all the mitzvahs. Listen to what he says about this mitzvah. I want to quote him. Such a very, very important. I'm free translation. I'm not translating the whole thing. It will take too long. But just excerpt some of the things that he says, which is very important. And this is mitzvah number 243 out of 613, 243. Mitzvah Avas Yisrael, to love a Yid, a Jewish person. The mitzvah is to love every single person of the Jewish nation. Kolaimar, Shenachmal al Yisrael v'al Mamoinah, that we should have mercy and consideration for another Jew and for his money, just like you have feeling for yourself and your own money. That's how you should treat another person. Just like you have ava for yourself. People do things for yourself, you should do things for him also. Just like you're careful with your money, you should be careful with his money. So what does he mean? He means that, of course, it's a big mitzvah to love, but to have the feeling of ava to the person. But the mitzvah Torah is telling us over here is you should act to him as if you have ava to him. Do everything that if you had ava for you would do it even if you don't have the ava. That's mitzvah ava. You should treat him like you have love for him, even though you don't have the love for whatever reason, but you have to treat him as if you do. And treat him the same way you treat yourself. What you hate, don't do the other person. Now, he says over here, you should conduct yourself with your friend the way you conduct yourself with yourself. To watch his money, if you see that something's a loss, he's going to lose money, to run and try to save it. You shouldn't lose any money. To be careful with his money, if you have handling it, as if you're doing your own money, and to save him from any type of a difficult thing that might happen to him, something that he might have some type of something which might take away his property. Or for instance, let's say you see that his window of his house is open and it's raining, and the rain pouring into the window. So you should make sure, call him up on the phone, walk over to the window, close it, and to keep away any damage that might come to him. Just like if you saw your window open and it's raining, you go and close your window, you have to go do the same thing for him. If you see that left his motor on his car is running, and if you forgot about it, you have to go and tell him. Or if you can't, so go and turn off his motor. Whatever damage that person might suffer, just like you take away from yourself the damage, you have to take away the damage of your friend. That's called loving him like yourself. You talk about him, talk about nice things. Just like you want people to talk nice things about you. You get very upset if you hear somebody said something bad about you. You're upset with him. Why'd you say bad about me? The same way talking about something, you're talking about somebody. Only talk good things, don't talk bad things. So this is the mitzvah of Hafra Kamoich. So there's two parts of this mitzvah. One part is literally that it's a biggest mitzvah is to really to have a feeling of love to every Jew, but we don't say that you're transgressing that mitzvah if you treat him as if you love him. Do everything that you do for yourself, somebody that you do love, you treat him the same way. Positively and negatively, you do everything that's good for him. So that is fulfilling mitzvah Hafra Kamoich. We asked in the beginning, how did the Torah tell us, Hashem tells us to love somebody? If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. So, of course, there are ways to work on yourself to love him, actually, to have a feeling for the person. And that is realizing how great a person, like I said before. Hashem created him, Hashem must love him, but Hashem likes him, and we created him for a purpose. So if Hashem likes him, so why shouldn't I like him? And all the great things about every Jew that we're Hashem's children, and the whole world was created for every Jew Hashem created. Like we mentioned many times, there are many reasons why we should have an actual feeling of love to somebody else. But that is the perfection of the mitzvah to do that. But to say that you're transgressing and you're going against the mitzvah is only if you don't act like you have love for him. You do everything for him like you do for yourself. That's if you love yourself, you make sure to do everything good the same way you do for him. So that's very important to know. But you can't just turn away and see something's brewing by the other person that's not good and sort of just walk away. It's too late at night and I can't be concerned with it. His problem. All this type of people try to get out of doing things, and because it's too hard, or it's too late, or it's too expensive, whatever. It's something that's expensive. That's also a question whether you have to spend money for it. That's another question for the person. But generally speaking, we have to look at the other person like he is our good relative. It's like my relative, we help them, we do for them usually. And just like our good friends, we do things to help them. Everybody, we treat them like a good friend, like a best friend. So that's another thing, which is not so easy. Not so easy to have it like everybody. We have to work on ourselves. There are people that have that personality, they worked on themselves, that they like every person. If they find something good about everybody, they don't talk bad about anybody, and they generally say hello and smile because they like people every year, because they realize every year how special every year is. That in fact, with the Shabbat every year, the soul every year, the Jewish has. So this is another one of those mitzvahs we're talking about. So I don't have any, lost the paper here. Okay. Now we also have a mitzvah of to rebuke somebody else who's doing the wrong thing. We see somebody doing something that a Jew should not be doing, or some should be doing, is not doing. We are obligated to not say, well, it's not my business, I don't want to mix into his business. He has his life, I have my life. No. We have to realize that every Jew is our responsibility. And we have to tell him, you're not doing something you should be doing. And or you should be doing something you should be doing. And we can't just say, like today is none of your business, none of my business. Every Jew is our business. That we have to realize that it's our obligation to see to it that every Jew keeps the Torah. We have to keep the Torah, and we have to see every other Jew keeps the Torah also. That's part of our obligation. And when the time is almost up, I want to just copyright and mention another mitzvah of Torah is that you're not allowed to make your hair a man. This is for that his hairline should be around, cut off his payas on the sideburns, and make like a line around his head from the beginning of his forehead, where the hair is, to the back of his head, cut off all hair, and not have sideburns. That is forbidden. Every Jewish person has to have, every Jewish male has to keep the law of la sakifu. They go to the barber and they make sure that it doesn't, some people cut off. That was the way of the idol worship. The priests of the idol worship used to go like that. Even today, in some places they go to see some of the monks, a picture of them, that today they cut off their hair out around and no hair on the side, and that is forbidden. Was to have payas, man, down to where the two bones connect over here, and the jawbone connecting with the head bone. That payas have to be that long, and we can't cut it. And some people want to. They don't want to look that way. They want to look. They want to cool. And they take a haircut. All kinds of haircuts take today, and it can't be that cool to cut off your sideburns or hashchasa. You're not allowed to take a shave with a razor. A man cannot use a razor to cut his beard. There's different places on the face where the Torah says you're not allowed to use a razor which cuts the hair so close to the skin. Some people have that urge to look at real smooth shave. That shouldn't be recognized any hair that was there. And the best way to do that is with a razor. If you do it like a shaver, you can't do the same job as a razor does. And it's the same reason, because that was the way of, and today also we have certain religions that they cut around. There's no sideburns, and they use razors to cut the whiskers off the face totally. That's forbidden. If you go to a barber, you can't take a shave to the barber shop with a razor. And to put service kaka, tattoos the person, not tattoo on the outside that they put on the little picture, but the real tattoo that put under the skin, different types of words or pictures and things, that is totally off limits. We're not allowed to make tattoos in our body. One reason is because the only sign of the body is circumcision, and anything besides circumcision is not allowed. You have to show to Hashem that we're His servants, and our body has a certain sign in the body itself, in the skin, and this is the only thing that Hashem wants us to show. They're His servants, and not to put any other type of body printing or pictures that are in the skin and that are removable. Of course, they have a way to take today with the remove the skin. It's a very painful way to do it. And a lot of people become religious today, and they're very embarrassed. They were kids and teenagers. They got tattoos themselves, and they let one of them. Of course, you're not obligated to take it away, but if they're embarrassed, they take it away. Some very painful, but it should not be done at all. This is against one of the 613 laws. It's forbidden. So we have 3 of them. And that's taking away the hair around, taking off the beard with a razor, and putting a tattoo on the person. These are all off limits for a Jewish person. And sometimes not so easy to keep, but maybe it won't be so popular with the friends, whatever it is, but that's what we're saying. Torah demands perfection. It might be hard to do, but you can do it. Hashem gave us the mitzvah, that means we're able to do it. So these are some of the mitzvahs added on to what we said the last 2 weeks. That's difficult to keep by most people, but we can control them, and we can come to the point where we don't even have to control them anymore. It becomes easy if we do it enough times. Repeat it, it gets into part of nature, and we're able to cope with it much easier and not have a big fight with Him, to in conflict with ourselves to perform the mitzvahs.